So when did you start martial arts? Did you do martial arts as a kid, Tim?
I did. I
Yeah.
did. I want to say I started when I was like 10. Yeah, right. Wild. Yeah, my parents were already separated, but like I was getting in like fights and stuff with all the kids around the neighborhood a lot. And I had a lot of energy when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And then, probably on a more personal note, I had a couple of pretty noticeable birth defects. I born with a lazy eye and this horribly, horribly dry skin. Just made me really obvious, in certain situations. And the facial deformity was like, I never got that one. That's, I think, the source of most of my fighting when I was growing up was that, it's like the boy named Sue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it did that for me. It just, like, anyway, so long story short,
Yeah, you're not the
uh,
only one, brother. You're not the only one. There are certain things that all of a sudden, like that was that inclines people, right? And then sometimes we
yeah,
almost get scarred from that stuff, and
sure.
we don't even have to necessarily wait for it to get addressed. And we're like, "Are you going there?" You know?
Do you know how triggered I get when I see somebody messing with somebody with some kind of disability or informity, like
I
deformity?
bet.
My brain just goes like, like, kind of like when I see it happening to other people, it creates this. It's happening to me right now.
Yeah. I appreciate you
So,
sharing that, man. You didn't have to share
yeah,
that. That's super cool, but and like Guru Rick talks about in a lot of the seminars, we all have multiple reasons why we're training martial arts, and they're
right.
usually not 100% the reasons we even think they are. We're getting
Yeah.
something else out of it.
So yeah, so my dad signed me up in martial arts, and my mom's like, "What are you thinking? You don't think this kid fights enough, right?" And I'm like, so anyway, Dad gets me signed up in martial arts, and shows me the city bus network, and I'm taking the Minneapolis city bus through uptown and going to Master Rose School on Lindale Avenue, and I started training there when I was a young kid, and like after that, like I like this many fights the rest of my life. It was crazy. It just had the most profound effect on me, and holy cow, it really sucked me out of the negativity that was happening when I was just bouncing around the neighborhood prior to martial arts.
That's a beautiful thing. Thank you for sharing that too. I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day. And, for those folks that are not involved in martial arts, sometimes it looks like an organized violence, which there's a piece of that is true. But quite often, like what happened to you, is that martial arts makes us less violent.
Right, absolutely. It gave me a means to control myself, or it gave me the means to learn to control myself, is what it did. So, and I was luckily enough for me, I was able to internalize those lessons because I
Mm
don't know if that actually happens for everybody. I think there's probably some violent kids that gotten into martial arts and continued to be violent.
hmm. Mm hmm.
And I will say, I at that point when I was that young kid, I was in martial arts probably for, I want to say, probably 2 to 2.5 years, and I was in junior high school at this point, and I was still having all kinds of weird issues, dealing with, the whole having my dad not in the house anymore,
Mm
and
hmm.
like, which just adds more testimony to the fact that people need dads in their house.
Yeah, brother.
But I don't want to get on that soapbox. But it was like
I'll climb up
my
there with you,
my,
Tim, just so
my
you
ish,
know.
but my issues were they hadn't gone away. They had just kind of changed. So maybe I wasn't like fighting anymore, but I started creating new problems to solve, I guess you could say. And then my dad was like, "Well, this is the golden cherry. This is what he loves to do the most. So let's take away this in hopes that he'll get his act together in school, and then when he gets his act together, he can go back to martial arts." That never actually happened.
Mm.
Not for a long time. It was quite a while, and it was interesting enough. Some of that, maybe I wasn't as violent and fighting with kids as much anymore, but I wasn't a very nice kid there for a while, especially after I'd left martial arts. I kind of reverted into that not nice kid anymore. And it was a long time before I kind of got things sorted out in my own mind and was able to get back to martial arts again in high school several years later.